we're very passionate about this software topic in general. We've been very pro technology and pro tech because of our backgrounds. We adopted the idea of the software and mobile bidding and auction software and all those things and all of the advancements in the space. We're very, very bullish on this. We have been since we started the company. So I'll say that to begin. I'll also say, hey, Q&A function at the bottom, chat feature as well. Any questions? If you haven't been here before, or if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment, leave us a question. We'll get to those for sure. But if you're watching this live, this is not your typical webinar. It's very interactive. We're not going to be talking over a bunch of slides or anything like that. But we like to keep the Q&A going. So anytime, at any moment, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. And Jason and I will get to them. State of the end and win. We are giving away a prize at the end of every single webinar. And we'll do that today as well to someone in attendance. So thanks so much,
well,
everybody.
I just pointed, maybe you said this, I probably wasn't paying attention, but if you're watching this via YouTube on the recording, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave those. We'd appreciate it. It's we know a lot of people listen to this not live, but we still would love the feedback. If you agree, disagree, we want all that feedback. So it means a lot to us.
Yeah, no question. And we appreciate it. If you're going to be there on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. So thanks so much. So Jay, we constantly say this. We go, some folks say, I'm just going to get right to it. Why wouldn't you use software if you're on the fence? It's because, and you mentioned this a few times, it's because of the cost. It's because of the implementation or the people power and the work that it'll take. But then we counteract those questions or concerns with, you can't afford not to. And I've heard you say not to use software. And I've heard you say this so many times, and it's really, really true. The minute you adopt and use mobile bidding software and auction software at your fundraising event or for your fundraising event, you will increase the funds that you raise by 30% minimum year to year, just by adding the advent of technology.
It's remarkable. And it doesn't really matter whose software you're using. So this is not for any one brand. It's just using the technology, period. It just is a dramatic increase. And we know that because just the evolution of how people interact with the technology itself. We've talked about 20 years ago, whenever they came, or not that long ago, but probably 15 years ago. Yeah, 15 years ago, I remember doing an event and they were passing out iPods to everybody to use. Yeah. Well, the problem was, society, we weren't used to a smartphone type technology, and you had a lot of people that were flip phones. They didn't know how to operate it. They thought that was for kids or people listening to music, which it was, but they used the technology, but it worked somewhat, but there was a lot of issues. The real breakthrough came in 2007 when iPhone came out, and then iPhone and then the adoption and moved into it. Android followed right after that. And all of a sudden touchscreen technology, and we all walk around the computer. So, whether you're 8 or 80, most everybody knows how to operate one. And so that became the big breakthrough for software. Yeah,
you just said it. When do you think, now you said when we started getting the touch screens and what have you, and you said the first iteration of mobile bidding was like, iPods and all those things. And now we've ushered that time out. One of the questions I kind of had that I just wanted to talk about, out loud with you and me, but I'll pose it to you is, when do you think society caught up to the technology where it's not even a question if everyone that supports your mission or wants to or is invited to your event can use mobile bidding software? When do you think that happened? Because it had to have been in the last few years, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, COVID was a big push because all of a sudden people that had never used software had to use software because of remote fundraising. The necessity became that. But on the flips, even back, I would go back, probably 2015, 14, 15 is just my
realistic.
Recollection where there was enough people using it, it was starting to penetrate, and the companies were, coming on strong, and it was getting out to a lot of events, and you were seeing the difference maker. And it was like, and I remember sitting, the big breakthrough for me was, I think I mentioned this, it was probably around 2015, 16. I was sitting at a table going to do an auction for an event, and I was sitting there, and there were a couple of young ladies at the same table I was, and they were having a conversation, never stopped, but they were continuously bidding on stuff.
Yep.
And I
I
was
call
like,
it
oh
the
my
eBay
gosh,
effect.
we're
I'm calling that
here.
the eBay effect.
We're
Yeah,
here
yeah,
because
yeah.
they're continuing to bid on silent auction, talking about it while they're talking about everything else, sitting at the table, as opposed to the old way where you have to physically stand up, walk over to the table, check your bid, then you'd have to come back. And people, used to say, well, I got to check my bids. And yeah, that does. It creates that, where people are going through looking at stuff. But what I've seen is it doesn't stop it at all. People still go look and they just do it on their phone, but they
Yeah,
continue bidding.
totally.
And,
We're talking about
so it's,
convenience as well.
yeah,
And then also basically like, how many times did you and I hear over the last decade, oh, our demographic or our donors are an older bunch and they won't be able to figure it
yeah,
out.
it's just not true.
It's totally not
It's just
true.
not true. And
Yeah.
I know that what happens is there may be some frustration with it, and somebody
Yeah.
might not exactly know how to do it, but that's easily fixed with having somebody to be a help there. And
Support
that way
staff.
you could literally have a support staff with a phone or an iPad or something, standing there ready to log bids with a little sash on that just says,
Yeah.
help, bid help, silent auction
Totally.
help or online bidding help,
Totally.
something
Yeah.
like that, where they designate and you tell people, and that way they're there to help somebody to do it. Because a lot of times somebody does want to put a bid in, they see something they want to do, but they're not really sure. Or, they've caught with their phone, they don't have their phone in their hand. They've got a glass of wine instead, and they go, oh, shoot, I left my phone at the table. Happens a lot. And all of a sudden, you got somebody there. Would you like to bid on something? Yeah, I want to bid on this. Oh, I can put the bid in for you.
What's your bidder number?
Okay, what's your bidder number?
Yeah, it's like,
And so a lot of times they'll
it's
remember
so
that.
great.
So it's
Yeah.
just little things like that. But, the thing I think there are some other things that we're seeing, we talk about the best way to utilize the software and where it really makes a big difference. And that's what, one of the things we want to talk about today to everybody listening, because you may already have software, you may be using
Yeah.
it, but
We've
maybe
got
there's some
quite a
ways that
few
you're
things. Yeah.
underutilizing it
Yep.
to do it. So
I want to go 30,000 foot view with like business 101 talk just for a second, and then we'll narrow the focus and I'll tell folks what we did. It was really, really fun on our podcast recently, but we've been having this conversation about just smarter, not harder, utilizing technology. We had a great podcast with a friend of the company that has a CRM that's perfect for nonprofits, and that'll come out next week. So anyway, that being said, we have our own journey with smarter, not harder with our own organization. And Jason taught me a really, really valuable lesson. Now, from my background being in business and us both being entrepreneurs and what have you, I was always a very, very big believer, and I could always really, really tell by looking at a company or a brand if it was easy to do business with them. And one of the hallmarks of our company was to always make it easy for folks to say yes, make it easy for them to use our products, to use our services, to reach out to us in general. So there's an approachability side and all that. But at the end of the day, that's an attention thing, right? So we want the attention of our customers, of our donors, supporters, volunteers. And when you remove friction, like it's not very difficult for folks to find you, i.e., having an auction site, using mobile bidding software, using the tools in thereof to reach out to your supporters and donors, because it's making it smarter. You're using smarter technology and not harder. Of course, using old spreadsheets or even having things written down on a spiral notebook. We've spoken to organizations where that's where they have their data, right? So it's just a smarter, not harder approach to operating your organization and fundraising in general. So just want to make sure that everyone that's even in the for-profit side deals with these things as well and utilizes technology and different marketing strategies to stay in front of their existing customers and their new customers. And that's one huge piece of the advent of mobile bidding software and auction software in general. So I think that's something just to really, really pay attention to.
Something you said, working smarter, not harder, doesn't mean it's easy. I want to
No, it
just
takes
really
time.
say
Yeah.
this is one of the things, if you've not ever used it, and anybody here who's used it knows the first time that you implemented a software, it was just hard because it's a new language, a new thing. You've got to learn there's a learning curve to it. But once you get it down and once you get it understanding and once you get your rhythm and how it works, it's a game changer when it comes to those things. Because it allows
automate
you
all those
to,
efforts.
well, it allows you to focus. One thing that happens, and the reason this is behind me is very purposeful, is because what happens during event season, we sometimes get fundraising out of focus. It's just not quite we're we're thinking about how we're getting our table placement. We're thinking about how we're getting our maybe we've got some sponsorships to still sell. Where the who's sitting at where the table assignments. We've got to figure out some items thing. We all know we start off when we do these, we have these great committees, and some of you have fantastic committees that really dig in. They're mature committees. They work, they go, the board's pulling the same way, and you've got those resources. But a lot of times it starts off with a big rah, and then it just goes down to nothing. And all of a sudden you've got staff, 2.5 staff members overwhelmed by everything that they've got to do.
It's a lot.
And one of the things that seems real easy is like, I just can't do it this year. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I just can't, I don't have the bandwidth to implement it. So I understand that, and I empathize with it, because putting software in place is difficult. Even the best companies, it's just still a learning curve, and it's a change the way we do things. And there's also trepidation, because now I've got to make sure my volunteers understand. Now my check-in, check-out has changed. We've got technology. Now I'm going to advocate that it makes it so much simpler for everybody to learn and to teach someone. Mm-hmm. But those things, I don't want to understate it. It does take a pull. There is that initial jump you got to do. But totally. Once you do, especially the things we're going to talk about today,
it's game on.
You're able to really see significant increase in fundraising and how those pieces are. And if you're already using software, there are some things that you can do that you're probably not doing. And we just base that on people we talk to on a weekly basis that, you can add into your program utilizing your software. Again, takes a little bit of work setup, but the return on that effort is exponential. And I think that's really what software does. It lets you get an exponential return on the effort.
No question. Two things that you said that slow people down. I don't think we've mentioned this yet. The investment of the software, totally get that. A couple $1,000 a year, typically. I'm just throwing numbers out there. And then the people power and the time that it will take to implement. Now I get that, but then we're also saying, I'm taking your words from you. You can't afford not to, just because the upside is so tremendous. You can't afford not to. So those are the two things. If that's ever slowed you down, let's just
do the math real quick. If you've got if you've got $100,000 event, it's 30%. That's a $30,000 upswing right there. So correct. Can you turn that 30,000 down? Or if you go, well, I'm just not sure, maybe we struggled with it last year. I don't know whether it made a change. It's just really tough. And I don't know, gosh, it just gets on there. So hopefully some of the things we'll talk about here, and I think we ought to hop on that. So I want to tee that up.
I want to tee that up. If we have any questions right now, go ahead and shoot them in, and we'll get to those. We did something really, really fun, and we are on our podcast, Hey Nonprofits Raise More Money. You can listen to that on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you consume your podcast. But it was really, really cool. And so we purposely have a topic, but I don't go into it telling Jason the kind of questions I'm going to ask him and things like that. He's the most prolific mind in fundraising.
He tries to play stump the chump. And
I was totally trying to stump you, and it worked out famously, and it gave us the impetus for some really cool nuts and bolts stuff that we're going to talk about today. So I hit Jason right in between the eyes on our podcast episode. I think it just dropped today, as a matter of fact. So take a listen and share it with someone in your network if you don't mind. But it was really, really cool. I said, Jay, give me your top 10. Now, it doesn't have to be in ascending order of least important to most important or anything like that. But give me your top 10, benefits of using software that maybe one or more of these top 10 folks are currently missing. Maybe they're just not understanding that this is a tool or a facet of what the software package they have can do. And I wrote them down. And so I'm going to tell folks what you got. And it was really awesome, because you gave me 10 in succession. You were able to explain them eloquently. And I'm going to ask that you do that again for the audience, Jay. So,
let's do it.
So number one was sponsorships and underwriting, an underutilized facet or tool of the Swiss Army knife of a software package. You said sponsorships and underwriting. Tell me what you mean.
Yeah, sponsorship and underwriting. Sponsorship, and when we talk about it for our vernacular, when we say sponsorship, we're talking about table sales, ticket sales, things that are going to bring people into the event. Underwriting is when you get someone to pay for the right to underwrite a specific thing. It can be something that costs money. Maybe it doesn't cost money. It doesn't come with tickets, everything's negotiable, but it doesn't necessarily come with tickets or seats. Let me give you an
Totally.
example. So, things like the AV, check in, check out, red carpet, on and on and on. For a golf tournament, it could be hole sponsors, hole in one sponsors, things like that. You put a number to all this stuff and you get it out. But the thing is how do I get that out to the people that I'm talking to? One of the things we all know that our boards and committees struggle with asking people for money. And what we want to do is do that. We want to make it really simple, passive almost.
Yep.
Another place is, we reach out, we're talking to somebody about a sponsorship, and they call and they say, well, you know what? Sorry, Jason, I'm going to be out of town. Hey, not a problem. That's okay. So Calvin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot you an email real quick. And this is all the underwriting, has all the underwriting opportunities, because it doesn't come with tickets, but it allows you to help us to hit our goal. So I'm just going to shoot that over to you and let you take a look at it. Now, all the softwares have a little different setup for it. So I'm not going to get into any one. I'm just going to say this very general terms. Okay. But you have this page, basically this link, that's a sign up page, and you just make all these additional things to do, additional besides a table or a ticket. It becomes, these pieces that they can buy, and you put a quantity on it. Yep. Maybe it's got more than one. Maybe it's only got one. Mm-hmm. So, like we've seen people do a golden ticket and they had two, $2,500 a piece, and they got $5,000. They sold both of them. But you can send this link in real time, and then all of a sudden Trevor pulls it up and looks at it, or Calvin's looking at it and says, okay, I think this red carpet's for me. And they can select on it. They can go pay for it right then with a credit card, or they can just say, I'm going to send a check. Like I said, softwares are all a little bit different, but how they operate, but they generally do the same thing. Now, what I've been able to do as, a professional fundraiser, now I've just taken that objection away, or I don't go, well, because if all I have to sell is a table, that's all I have to sell and offer. Right. So let's give you two experiences that happen with this that allows you to raise more money. Number one is the person that's not going to be there. Okay. They say, well, I'm not going to be there. Two is going to be the business. We all know, we love to go and get a certain business. I use banks. Bank's a great example. So I'm going to have the bank go out here and I'm going to go talk to them. Then they buy a table. Who do they give the tickets to? They go down to the front because they've got something going on. They've been to 5 events already. They want to support you, but that's all they have. So they go give, 8 tickets out to tellers and say, hey, here's some free drinks and dinner tonight. And they go do that. Well, that's, you get a table full of consumers, not donors. But if we give that bank an opportunity to underwrite something, and I'm talking to Trevor, he's the banker, and I go, hey, Trevor, hey, man, I'd sure like to get you and a bunch of your rich friends and board members to come to our event. And you go, man, I'm sorry, I'm going to be out of town. Hey, not a problem. I'm going to shoot this over to you and take a look at it, just see where you'd like to be. You don't have to show up and do anything, but it lets you support us, and we're going to make sure and show our appreciation and let everybody know that you're a part of our event. That's a really simple pull, because technology. If you don't have technology, then I got to go, hey, I'm going to email you a list. And then you got to look at it. And then you send an email back to me going, well, tell me about that. Oh, sorry, that one's already gone. Because the software allows you to see that it's sold out. Yep. See, that's the really cool thing. So they see your success. Hey, nobody else you're the first person I'm sending this to. You haven't sold it to anybody. You just make it exclusive. Calvin, you're the first person I'm sending this to. I wanted you to have pick of the litter. Okay. Cool. So it just gives an easy way for people to be able to share and raise money with your software, so you know what's going on, that a lot of people they don't utilize because they never even thought, it's never considered to do that, how to use it.
It's clean as well. It's
it's just clean. Really clean.
Here you go. Super easy to say yes.
And you can give it out to 10 people and they're all working at the same time, and literally in real time it's updating.
Smarter, not
so
harder.
You know how many tables you've sold. You've sold the platinum sponsor. The gold sponsor's gone. I better get in now because I want to get the best table that they've got. It's just it generates fear of missing out. Fear of missing out.
Rapid fire top 10 with Jason. That was number 10. I'm going backwards. I'm gonna cap you, and I want questions. I'm gonna go 3 minutes each.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay. I won't go so long. Okay.
No, you're good. You're good, brother. This is awesome. This is really good, by the way, everybody. Underutilized tool and what you should really be thinking about. Top 10 rapid fire. Advertising of items.
Okay, so all these software, like we provide what's a media kit with all of our items. And when I say that, because it's going to give all these pieces in here that you can go load up for your items and everything.
Yeah.
So you put previews and premium. Let's just say somebody donated something and they've got this beautiful house
Yeah.
that's in Malibu, okay, and they're going to let you use it. Okay, great. We take the pictures and everything. We need to let people know.
Yeah.
So with the
No
software,
questions.
we
Yeah.
can do it via text message. All these softwares are tied into text message. They're all tied into email. So we're going to send a text and an email with a simple thing going, get ready for our, for a fun night. It's going to be abracadabra night at ABC Charity. And, one of our items is the House of Malibu. Maybe you're going to get to go and hang with the stars, whatever.
Yeah.
And that becomes something that you can pre-event. People can see it. Then they can go on technologically and see what you've already got on there. Yeah, you may not be the finalist, but they get to start seeing and they start thinking about it.
Absolutely.
And as we do this, it keeps that in front of mind. It lets you advertise on a daily basis without the same old message. See,
Hey,
one
we
of
got
the
a new
things that
item.
happens
We're
with
advertising
events,
that today. Yeah.
yeah, we keep giving the same message over and over and over and over and over again. Well, it's not going to change anything because they've already seen it once. It's got to be something new and different, but it allows you to keep it in front of them for this period of time to amp up the energy and excitement and to get there. And you can't do it without it. Yeah, sure, you can send a text, send an email, but what if people aren't looking at your email because they've already seen it 14 times? Text message is hard to miss.
What do
And
you think about strategically dripping out new items? And I say I'm using the term drip from a marketing perspective, like drip marketing, dripping out new items as they come about 30, 60 days before the event, 2 weeks before the event.
well, it really depends. If
Strategically.
you've got something cool coming up that you could really spotlight, like the house in Malibu,
Yeah.
and you want to do that 30, 60 days out there, that's fine. I think less is more in those
Cool.
cases. I don't think
Yep.
you need to give details. I don't think you need to do it. You just got to go, abracadabra is coming up in 30 days. And guess we've got Malibu, Malibu on our mind or something like
Cool.
that. And you put
Yeah.
something out there just as a small little tease for it. And, less is more.
Just good
we don't need
marketing,
to
though.
yeah,
Just good marketing.
it's just way you're building excitement about your event without the same thing. Buy your tickets, buy your tickets, buy your tickets, buy your tickets, buy your tickets. Sometimes we got to just tell people what we do. In fact, if you think about from an advertising standpoint, the way they sell concert tickets, they don't sell concert tickets going, get your tickets now. They give a preview of what's going to happen. They're showing, your favorite songs. Here's your artist. Here's what they're going to do. They're going to bring it, rock the house. We're doing the same thing. And we're able to use our items and things like that. And the mobile bidding software has the ability to do that. So you're actually communicating in real time as they sign up. And maybe people haven't signed up and you've uploaded your database of phone numbers into it and you start sending them text messages, which is completely legal. You can do it because you have a relationship with them.
Yeah, totally good. Love that. Love that. Something maybe underappreciated, undervalued, underused. Software, auction software, mobile bidding software allows you to advertise your mission more effectively as well.
Well, it does because when you're sending out those things, you can start sending stories. You start sending a reason why. We want this to be we want to invite people to be a part of our mission, invite people to be a part of our organization. I don't want to ask them for money. I want to invite them to participate. And the way that we do that is we send this out to say, tie the dollar to what it is. We're trying to send 100 kids to camp this year. It costs $1,000 per kid to go to camp.
Yep. We're trying to
you're telling them what this money is going to do, what we're going to do, what our goal is. You're sharing in the mission. We want to send 100 kids to camp. Not I want to raise $100,000 because it's intrinsically deal, but you say we want to send 100 kids to camp. We hope you're going to it costs us $1,000 per kid, and we hope you're going to be willing to participate.
I love that.
Those things, that's how, this advertising using the technology to get it out there because you can, load all your information in as you've got them. Any database that you have can be easily uploaded into the system. You start beforehand instead of waiting until they check in to know that they're coming, or you're, fielding an email, or you put it on, there's a couple of, online services. I can't think of what it's called. What's the one online service people use a lot for registration? They put their Eventbrite.
Eventbrite.
You do something like Eventbrite, but you're limited. Once that's all you can get is the information.
Mm-hmm.
This all of a sudden, once they, buy a table, buy a ticket, you get those names. Instantly, you can start uh, reacting to him. And if you don't mind, I'm going to just give a little information. So
Please
one of the
do.
things the software allows you to do is put your guests in. Now, sometimes we don't know who our guests are until kind of the last minute, but that allows them to put that information in so they can go ahead and put John Smith, here's his phone number, Trevor Nelson, here's his phone number, Jason Ledlow, here's his phone number. And they all of a sudden, then they start getting the information as well.
Perfect.
So it's really good. So all of a sudden,
yes.
We become partners with I'm going to call him a table captain, the person who buys the table, to help them with their folks knowing what communication's happening.
Totally. God, that's good. Well, that'll segue really nicely into what I geek out on. Just once again with our company and our software, and what you can definitely utilize when underappreciated piece of this entire software game is reporting and data, and help you with regard to night of and how that's going to help you moving forward.
Well, if you don't have, with mobile bidding software, some of the great reports that you can find there is, number one, you can see who all showed up. You can see who all actually bid on something, not just people who bought things. Now, you don't need, without mobile bidding software, we can figure out who bought it. They were the high bidder that, we wrote it on a spiral notebook and did notes that way.
Get in the weeds on this.
But this is where now I know who bid. So I know that Maria bid on 4 items and I know what she bid on. Not only do I know that she didn't bid on the free dental hygienist cleaning, she didn't bid on that. She bid on high dollar stuff. She was all of her bids, and I'm just using you, Maria, for fun, but what she's doing, everything she bid on was $4,000 or $5,000 items.
Maybe you've never met.
Now I know Maria all of a sudden I've got somebody that's got that's got capacity. She didn't win anything, but maybe I go talk to her. Maybe all of a sudden now I get the data. One of the biggest things I think is incredible to me is when we start to reach out and we thank people is we don't have any way to do it. Golf tournaments are the perfect example. You've got, I've got 40 teams that I've got for my golf tournament. And all of a sudden these 40 teams, there's 4 people on each team. Well, I've only got 1. So I only got 40 people. I could have 160. Because we just, manually checked them in and didn't do anything with the data. With mobile software, you can check them in, you put them in just like they're going to a table, they're just going to a team. And all of a sudden I've got all this data that I can start rolling up. Whenever people put their team in, like a table for 4, all of a sudden it's a team for 4. They submit their information because it's going to be, me and Trevor, and I've got Carrie and Jackie are going to be on my team. And all of a sudden, we've got a lot more data points to reach out and talk to.
Game on.
And that's where just being able to connect with people. So then, and we talked about CRM on the podcast, but you take all the data that you've gotten from there, people that you don't know, people that you don't have a relationship, and you take that, move it over to your CRM, because you're going to have people who you've never seen before. You never talked to them. You don't have any relationship with them. I just know that they came and sat with Trevor, but I also know that they paid $10,000 for a trip that I, had no idea. Yeah. And I want to stay connected to them. And that's the big part. You can see trends. You can see what worked, what didn't, what was bid on, what was looked at, how many times somebody clicked on something. All this data is there. So you really know, because everybody sits back and go, well, I wonder what anybody wanted. What was the hot item? Well, you can look, because you know that this item had 23 bids on it, and this item had 2. Okay. Which one, and I had 14 individual bidders on this one, and I had 2 bidders on this one, and they each bid 1 time. So
we're always future casting. That can tell you what's going to work in the future as well.
It sure is.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, huge.
And extrapolating the data, but I just want to say, that's real brief. There's so many more things you can see in the data, but you've got to get it first. You've got to get that data, and then from there, it's what you can search and seek, and you can dig down to the, very minor minutia, but without it, doing it manually without software is just friggin' impossible. And even people that have it, one of the things that I've seen is that they look at the data one time and then they're done. They get a settlement report. They don't realize
there's so much value.
There's so much more there, because they get a settlement report and they go, okay, well, we got the settlement. We've paid everybody. We paid this. We got paid by everybody. And which, bringing back to software, collecting payments. It's really simple. I go, hey, you've got something you haven't paid because and that's probably be somebody like me, because I don't want to stand in line and wait, or I just pay for it on my phone. I know that I owe, $900, the stuff I bought, and I just push a button and it's paid. Done. I can get my stuff and go. So it's just really simple. Or if I just left and didn't pay, I can send a text message. Hey, Jason, thank you for attending our event, but we need you
just
to pay.
remind you to check
Here's
out
the link. Check out.
So good. It does all that. Software does all that.
It does so much, but the data's a big piece.
I'm going to go down a quick different avenue, though, still about like the check-in, check-out, how easy it is. And you gave a really cool example, and I've heard you say this before. It's really, really good. It's worth mentioning again. The speed of executing raffles with mobile bidding software at your event, with buying tickets and things like that. Give a real-time example of that.
Let's just say we're doing a golden ticket raffle, and I'm walking around and I'm the person, I've got 2 or 3 people that are designated to sell. Now, if I do it the old fashioned way, I've got to go and I've got to, which even if you're doing it the old fashioned way, you want to use a bidder number, but I would go and maybe write their name down, ask them for some money, because we don't know if we'll be able to collect later. So I'm, asking them for some money, and they're digging their pocket, trying to pull a credit card out. I'm trying to swipe their card, scan it, put it in. You're talking 3 to 5 minutes that takes. Well, 3 to 5 minutes times 300 is 300. Let's just say 3 minutes. That's 300 minutes.
One of those friction points that we want to remove.
Yeah. Now we're talking over. It's going to take me over 3 hours to be able to sell 100 tickets with that process. However, if I just they just can simply go buy it, and we're not going to give a paper ticket. People are done with that. They don't need to have a paper ticket anymore. Sometimes they want. We'd let them know, hey, it's all electronic. Now, I do think on the drawing, I think you issue a ticket, because we've taken everybody that's bid, we put your ticket in here. I can assure you it's ready to go. We're going to crank it up, put it in a bucket, do whatever it is you want to do, because people like to see the physical raffle, and it's a little bit more dramatic that way than somebody going, okay, here we go. Well, it's number 107. Yeah, that wasn't very fun, except for the person that won.
Yeah.
So we want to have a little anticipation.
The speed.
But the speed, you're talking about, you walk up to somebody, they've got their phone in one hand, a glass of wine in the other hand. You're saying, hey, I've got this right here. We've got the golden ticket. We're going to raise $10,000, and we'd love to get yours. It's 1 in 100 chance, and I've got some tickets left. Do you want to get yours? And you go, sure. Well, I don't have to go put my wine down, do anything. I can either do it on my phone, or I can say I've already bought it on my phone, or they can say, what's your number? 107. I put it in my phone or pad that I'm using to walk around and sell this with, and it's done instantly.
Yeah. Piece of cake. Yep.
I don't have to do anything. If I have a list, then we take the list, because you can pull it up very simply, everybody who bought this one item, and we write the tickets down, drop it in a box. Now, some of the software does it electronically. They do it completely electronically.
Yeah.
It's up to you if you want to do it that way. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. If you wanted to, you could let it do electronically and pull the deal out and go.
Yeah, like through a randomizer.
Says, you could just have a bunch of tickets in a deal, pull it out and go, it's number 107. I don't care, but I'm just saying there's ways that you can do that.
Totally. I think it's awesome. Convenience and timing. And so with like the actual golden hour of fundraising, or just like how it applies to the run of show, what I get out of this was another point was that you could let folks know in real time the silent auction or online auction is closing in 5 minutes. The convenience of alerting everyone in the room, because it's a text message right to their phone. The live auction starting in 15. Like, talk about that. I mean, it's probably underutilized.
So run a show. Yeah. So you can have preset text messages, or you can just set it up where they send out, somebody sends them out, where that way people are going to get that text message. Dinner starts in 5 minutes. Auction A ends in 5 minutes, live auction starting in 5 minutes, all those kind of things, any kind of time things you want to ping people with.
Yes.
Because it also works. And I'll tell you the other part of this, because if you've got people who are moving in remotely, see, one of the things that software lets you do is you could send out a broadcast and say the silent auction's open, and they could bid from anywhere. Now, you got to be thoughtful about this. There's some setup things that you want to do. I caution you. You want to make sure that they have to put a credit card in before they buy something. Okay. If you're going to do that, because if you do that, then you don't worry about some Yahoo like me getting on there going, hey, I'm going to make somebody pay for this. I wouldn't really do that. But you see where somebody buys something and then you don't know who they are, and they never show up just because they were screwing with something.
Sure.
That could happen. So you got to be thoughtful about how you do those things, and your software company provider can help you with that. That's what they're good at, is helping you broaden that out.
Yes.
All these things, yeah, using this to say, this is coming, this is up. Here's another piece that it allows them to do within that timing of the golden hour of fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that we've closed our silent auction, we're having our live auction, we're going into our fund of need. Well, I just bid on 14 things. I don't know what I won, but instantly with my phone, I know exactly how much I'm committed to right now.
Right.
I can see that the 5 items that I thought I was winning, I only got one, and it cost me $100. So in my giving budget, I've still got money left.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I can do more and I can give more
one.
because it does hold people back if they think, well, I'm committed. I don't know if I'm committed over here. And with a manual auction, you do not know. There's no way to get that information, to get it tallied, to get it out there, to send it out where somebody can know in real time. But this way they know in real time what they're committed to. I know that I've got 5,000. I just bought, $15,000 worth of stuff. Yeah. I'm maxed out. I can't buy anything else.
I won.
Okay. Yeah. Right. But it is, it's something. And then spouses, they got it the same, they're sharing the same account. I know that my wife's already, she spent $5,000 over in the silent auction. Okay. That means I got to cool my jets.
Yeah.
So
totally. Slow your roll.
Yeah.
Very, very simple. This is really cool. And this applies to folks being out of in the event and also in different time zones they couldn't attend, but they still want to give because they have a heart for your organization. I love when we first found out and kind of saw, when folks would get the thumbs down, you've just been outbid, or the thumbs up, you're still winning, and those alerts. Make sure people, folks, make sure you're utilizing that. That was another piece that you mentioned, is like using every piece of this technology to speak to people, like that scrolling effect, or I call it like the eBay effect. It's like we're already conditioned to, if we're bidding on things online, we buy everything online anyway. Just utilize all those tools if you're not, of course, because it's like once again, I geeked out on the fact that we could alert folks that we were missing, they were outbid. And you said something as well, Jay, where folks can set their max bid amount with a lot of these platforms.
You don't have to sit there and look at it. I know I'm willing to give $500 for this, but the cool thing about the software, I bid my max bid was $500. I got outbid, and I'm like, well, shoot, okay, well now it's 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay, well now it's and so what happens is that impulse. We're striking on that impulse and playing it. It's a gamified, and the people they get competitive. They want to get it. Whereas I've got to get up. I've sat down. I started eating my salad, and I'm sitting here and I think, oh, I got to get up and go over here and look at my bids.
Yep.
And I get into a conversation, I forget, and they go 2 minutes, and I'm trying to finish my conversation. All of a sudden it's done. But if I get a text message, I can go, hey, Trevor, hold on just a second. I want to make sure I get that that new set of golf clubs. Yeah, exactly. The Yeti cooler.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are things that, we see in real time happen. And that's where the 30% increase comes.
Totally.
30%, night of fundraising comes because we've removed friction. We're being equal opportunity receivers.
We're making it easy for folks to say yes.
Easy to say yes. 100.
Okay. This was short, but really, really cool. You said something about your auction site almost being like your digital program. So we're moving in the 21st century, right? And then also how the auction site shows real-time markers for fundraising. Like we're this close to our goal, and folks might already be doing this, but just speak to that briefly.
Well, 2 things. One is on the show, 20, 30 years ago, the only thing that you had was a program, and everything was in the program. Then about 20 years ago, we started using overheads and projectors, and you started seeing a little bit more of that. 10 years ago, it became mostly videos. People would do a lot of video things. As the technology got better, it was easier to produce. And then, while we're creating this, the other thing now is we can let people know in real time what we're doing. We can have the thermometer up there, the meter or whatever, to show our fundraising goal where we're at. Let them see that. You can have things that pop up that show people bidding and doing and all those things, and it creates that excitement. Let people know. If you remember back in the old days, we would do a telethon. You would hear, everybody remembers the MDA Jerry Lewis telethon, and you would hear the phones in the background. Phones are live, phones are open, phones are ready to go. And you got people answering. Well, they're really not ringing the phones. But they put that in the background, so it just gave that.
It was for effect.
It was for effect.
Yeah.
And so the same thing, now we've got the ability to show people in real time. I remember, seeing the names string down below.
Yes.
And, one time my parents called in and made a donation. I saw our name and it was so cool to see your name going. People like to see that. They like to see
Yes.
that do it. And the software allows people to bid both with their name or do it anonymously. So you
Totally.
can see
You
things
can
like
fund a
that.
need, you can give, yeah, anonymously, all
The other
that.
thing
Yeah.
is, programming, you can run a show right in your phone. It's right
Yep.
in there in the program so people know what's coming up next. And they
Yep.
don't have to go back to that. They can scroll through, see all the items. You don't save the money. You can save the money on a program. You can put all sponsorships, everything on the,
Where do the programs
sponsorships on the
end up at the
phone
end of the night anyway, bro?
in the
Where?
trash. I
Come
mean, some
on.
people save them. I used to save them years ago for the
I
auctions
get
that I
you.
did. But
Yeah.
then after a while, I go, why am I saving? I got a stack like this tall. I'm like, get
Everything's
them out of here.
digitized. Everyone's
Yeah.
conditioned. Everyone's indexed to be using the phone anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you got still, and I'm not saying don't use a program. That's not what I'm trying to
no,
say.
but you're saying there's
But I'm
options.
saying
Yeah.
it's one more thing because now I don't have to walk around with my program and my phone and my glass. After a while, you kind of get, which one am I going to take? Am I going to take my program or am I going to take my phone? I'm going to take my phone every time.
Yeah.
We just know that's what we're going to do. We all
Everyone
walk around.
is.
It's
Everyone
leashed to it.
is.
They are doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Until that changes. Hey, listen, we're not the ones saying, "Oh my gosh, the phones, can't be they can't be over, we're always talking about, oh, we got to put our phones down, things like that. Listen, we're not going to change the fact the way that people operate and the human condition right
Hmm.
now. And the human condition is to have the phone with you at all time. That's why the text messages, the alerting you that you've been outbid and the live auction starts in 5 minutes. That's why it's going to be so impactful because regardless of whether or not people are networking, their
Hmm.
phone's probably not going to be left at the table. It's going to be in their
Well,
pocket when it
something that we
turns.
saw some people do is they took a link to social media and they put it in the text message and sent it, and then
Yes.
everybody got it, and it said post, hey, repost this now. Push the
Perfect.
button, and they just have to do a
Yep.
repost on whatever
Yep.
social. This is Instagram, Facebook, whichever
Super
one it
cool.
was,
Yeah.
and it goes right out to it. So all of a sudden, you get that activity,
I love that. I
somebody
love that.
reposting a post. So it's pretty cool.
I'm going to call for questions. I want to get to the last piece. I don't know if it's going to be the most important, of the 10, but this has gone really, really well. Any call for questions, please? If something's resonating with you, or if you want us to go a little bit deeper on one of the points, we're gonna kick everybody out of here in just a minute. But we're the gratitude people. We're very, very, very big on gratitude. We're very big on utilizing thank you and gratitude, even the night of. And
Oh, for sure.
what software allows you to do is it gives you a snapshot in real time and allows you to engage with current donors, new donors, folks that have bid, like the scenario where you said, hey, someone came in, we've never met them before, they're guests of so and so. They bid $5,000 on an item, but the winning bid was 6,000. That was someone that you've never met before. I just love this illustration.
Mhm.
That was willing to spend $5,000 on an item and they've never been to your event. You can get a snapshot of all of that activity the night of. Take the time in the moment during
Mhm.
the entertainment, during the where they're getting exposed to your mission, your organization, essentially maybe for the first time. Take the time. You're dressed to the nines, and so are they, and everyone's happy. Maybe they're imbibing a little bit. What a great time to extend your hand and say thank you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think there's three things that happen. One, you can thank people. We always talk about thanking people 7 times before we ask them for money again.
Yeah.
So, one of the things is you can publicly say thank you. Thank you so much to everybody for coming tonight. Maybe you're going up individually. I personally always like the executive director and president of the board. That's their job. They're not there to do anything
100.
else but walk around, thank people, and it matters to people. It does matter. So you're doing that. Well, then you send a text message out to everybody who attended.
Yep.
Thank you. So that we've had two. So we did the
They're getting
public
that on
one,
the
we're
way
doing the
home.
personal one.
On the way
On the
home.
way home.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making Abracadabra a super success. We exceeded our goal by 20%. Couldn't have done it
Yes.
without your help. Now we're going to be able to send 120 kids to camp.
Preach.
Okay. Whatever that is. Then you can send an email out a couple of days later, going back on that mission to talk about it, what you did. So now we've thanked them 4 times. So all of a sudden, I've got 4 of my 7 thank yous out of the way. And I say out of the way, it's important.
Yes.
By doing that within 48 hours.
I was going to say 48 hours. Yeah.
And basically nothing more than we can have it preset and we just pushed a button.
Smarter, not harder.
And it's all of a sudden we can feel good that we're giving that message out, letting people know, making sure that they know that we appreciate them. And then starts things like personal phone calls, because now we can break all this data down, because I know who my biggest fans were that night. In the fund and need, the top 10 people. And maybe we say we're going to make a personal phone call to them. The second 10, we're going to have the president of the board is going to make a phone call to them. The ones, everybody after that, I'm going to break it out to staff, or we're going to send notes or do things. And again, I know that a lot of y'all just have 2.5 people in your organization. So you're going, yeah, when am I going to get? But this lets you value that time, so that way maybe I can't call my top 10, but I can call my top 5.
Yeah. And then tomorrow, get to the
I'm going to I'm going to put my list together, and I'm going to, over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to make 3 phone calls a day. But you have the data.
Yep.
You have the data that
your equity is the data.
Yeah. You didn't have before, or it's really hard to go back and filter through and find it, or you spend time on a spreadsheet and doing all this. This is really simple. You can just put donations ranked by a report, ranked by a dollar amount, push the button, rolls it right out, and here it is.
Yep. That way, if you do a coaching call with Jason, he says, who are your top 10 donors? You'll know right then.
Yep, biggest fan club. That's what we have to do. We treat this as our fan club. These are your fans. They gave you money.
Raving
fans. You want to, they do. They thought enough of you to show up and give money
as possible. We're trying to create as many raving fans as possible. I hope that resonated with everyone.
I have a question here. Somebody's got to have a question. Come on.
Or maybe it was just too good. The content could have been too good, where it didn't spark any. There's people are just taking notes. Are folks taking a lot of notes with all this stuff? Yeah, I hope that resonated with folks. We'll get a winner going here. And
I've got a winner. I've got a winner, so I'm ready to go here in a minute.
Last call for questions. Or, by the way, everybody, I'm going to put our business in the street. This is all over YouTube now as a recording as well. Jason at hjafundraising.com, spelt like Jason. And then Trevor at hjafundraising.com. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions about software or anything fundraising. You want to do a free coaching session, go to our website, hgafundraising.com. Click on the free coaching button, and we'll give you some time. Our time is free. It comes with no strings attached. Doesn't matter what software. We are friendly with all of them. We have staff members that are literally dedicated to helping you upload items.
I was going to say, and if you've got like a really stumping question, we've got a resident expert on most of the software. She understands the basic premise of it really well, some better than others.
One of them.
But she can give you some really good insight as far as setting up some things to do. If you're worried about it, having a plan of implementation of how you're going to do it. And to do that. But thank you, Jackie. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Cool.
We tried to create some good info for you. And thanks, definitely Jackie. have no fear. That's what Jackie said. Have no fear when it comes time to implementing this software, because there is going to be trepidation. Change is hard.
Yep.
Change is hard. And
it also leads to growth.
Please don't, understand it's there.
Cool. Who's the lucky winner?
Our winner is Maria Papella.
All right, Maria.
Paparella. Paparella. Maria Paparella.
Maria.
She's our winner. So,
thanks, Maria.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Maria, so here's what we're going to do is now
we're going to spin the wheel.
Pull up. We are going to spin the wheel. So
someone from our team will be in contact with you, Maria, as
touch the screen. And here it goes. There, let's see where it's going to stop.
No whammies. Here we go.
200.
Nice. That's real money.
You just won $200 in HGA bucks, and that's exciting because you can use that for any item that we have.
You can upload that item onto your mobile bidding sites. We can help you do it. All the above. We're here to help. Jackie, thanks so much for the feedback. Everybody else, thanks so much for coming. Maria, thanks so much for coming, and congratulations. Appreciate everybody for coming. Do us a favor. Share this with someone in your network. We're going to be back next week, same time, same channel. And of course, listen to Hey Nonprofits Raise More Money. It's the best podcast in the universe. It's the #1 podcast in the podcast universe, or at least we think so. And share it with someone as well when you listen to that wherever you consume your podcast. So thanks, Jay. Thanks for doing a deep dive.
Hey, Jackie, real quick, I've got some stuff coming your way because you asked me for some information. I've got it coming your way. I should have it today or tomorrow. So,
nice.
All right.
Right on.
Talk to you guys later.
All right, y'all. Thanks so much. Enjoy your afternoon. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. Thank you.